She dumped me 13 minutes before midnight to kiss another guy. I told her to watch me build my future without her. By 12:05 a.m., she realized she was nobody's future. The champagne was warm. That is the first thing I remember about that night. It was a plastic cup filled with cheap, lukewarm sparkling wine that tasted like battery acid and bad decisions. We were at a house party in the suburbs, the kind where everyone is 20-something and trying too hard to prove they are living their best lives. The bass was rattling the windows, shaking the fake snow off the Christmas tree in the corner, and the air was thick with the smell of expensive perfume masking the scent of desperation. I was standing by the kitchen island, watching my girlfriend, Vanessa, across the room. We had been together for 3 years. 3 years of my life invested in a woman who, lately, looked at me like I was a piece of furniture she had bought on sale and now regretted. She was wearing a silver dress that shimmered under the strobe lights. She looked beautiful. She also looked completely uninterested in my existence. For the last 2 months, things had been off. You know that feeling when the text messages get shorter, when the I love you starts sounding like questions rather than statements. I had felt that shift in the tectonic plates of our relationship, but I ignored it. I told myself it was stress. She was finishing her master's degree. I was grinding at a startup trying to get a promotion. We were just busy. We were just tired. We were fine. But watching her that night, I knew we weren't fine. She was talking to a guy named Trevor. Trevor was just a friend from her study group. Trevor was tall, played lacrosse in college, and had the kind of smile that made you want to check if your wallet was still in your pocket. He was leaning in close, whispering something in her ear, and she was laughing. That laugh, the one she used to save for me, the one that made her nose crinkle. She hadn't laughed like that with me since July. I checked my watch. 11:30 p.m. 30 minutes until the ball dropped. 30 minutes until the new year. I decided to be the bigger man. I decided to swallow my jealousy, walk over there and kiss my girlfriend at midnight. I wanted to start the year right. I wanted to believe that whatever rough patch we were in, we could leave it in the past. I pushed off the counter and navigated through the crowd. Someone spilled a drink on my shoe. Someone else elbowed me in the ribs. I kept my eyes on the silver dress. When I got within 5 feet of them, Trevor saw me first. He didn't look guilty. He didn't step back. He looked at me with a smirk that said, "I know something you don't." "Hey," I said, putting a hand on Vanessa's lower back. She flinched. It was subtle, a tiny tightening of her muscles, but I felt it. Almost time. She turned to look at me. Her eyes were glassy. She had been drinking, but she wasn't drunk. She was lucid, painfully lucid. "Can we talk?" she asked. Now I looked at the crowd. "It's almost midnight, Ness." "Yes, now outside." She didn't wait for an answer. She walked toward the sliding glass door that led to the patio. It was freezing outside, maybe 20 degrees, but she stepped out into the cold without even grabbing a coat. I followed her. The sudden silence of the backyard was jarring after the noise inside. You could hear the distant hum of the city, the occasional firework going off early in the distance. She walked to the edge of the patio and wrapped her arms around herself. I took off my jacket and moved to put it around her shoulders. "Don't," she said. She stepped away from me. "I don't want your jacket." I stood there holding my coat, feeling the cold seep into my dress shirt. "Okay, what's going on?" She took a deep breath and the white puff of air vanished into the night. She looked at her phone. 11:45 p.m. "I can't do this anymore," she said. Her voice wasn't sad. It was impatient. It was the voice of someone who has a schedule to keep, and I was running late. "Do what?" "Us this," she gestured between us. "I don't want to go into the new year with you. I've been thinking about it for weeks. I look at you and I don't feel it. I feel stuck." "Stuck," I repeated. "Vanessa, I pay our rent. I paid for your tuition last semester so you wouldn't have to take out another loan. I drive you to class every morning. How are you stuck?" "See, that's it," she snapped. "You're always keeping score. You're so practical. You're safe, Mike. You're a safe choice, but I don't want safe. I want exciting. I want passion. I want a future that looks different than just paying bills and watching Netflix. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I'm building a future for us. That's why I work 60 hours a week. No, she said, shaking her head. She looked back at the house through the glass door right at Trevor. He was watching us, holding 2 glasses of champagne. You're building your future, and I realized tonight, standing in there, that you are not my future. She looked at her phone again. 11:47 p.m. I'm breaking up with you, Mike. I want to be single at midnight. Well, not single, but free. Free to what? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Free to kiss Trevor. She didn't even have the grace to look ashamed. Trevor understands me. He has big dreams. He's going to travel. He's going to start a business in Bali. He gets it. You're just here. I'm just here, I whispered. I'm the guy who held your hair back when you had the flu last month. I'm the guy who fixed your car in the rain. I'm the guy who loves you. I know, she said, and her tone was patronizing, like she was explaining quantum physics to a toddler. And that's sweet, but it's not enough. I need more, and I'm going to get it, starting tonight, starting in. She checked the time again, 12 minutes. She turned to go back inside, back to the warmth, back to Trevor. She was leaving me in the cold, 13 minutes before the new year, discarding 3 years of history like a used napkin because she wanted a better midnight kiss. She put her hand on the handle of the sliding door. Vanessa, I said. She stopped but didn't turn around. You said I'm not your future. I did. Then watch me build it without you. She laughed. It was a short, sharp sound. Okay, Mike, good luck with that. She slid the door open and stepped back into the party. The noise rushed out for a second. Laughter, music, the countdown beginning on the TV screens, and then the door slid shut, sealing me out. I stood there for a minute, shivering. I watched her walk through the crowd. I watched her walk up to Trevor. I watched her smile and touch his chest. I watched him hand her a glass of champagne. I could have gone back in. I could have made a scene. I could have fought for her or screamed at him, or demanded the money she owed me. But as I watched them through the glass, I realized something. She wasn't a prize to be won. She was a liability to be cut loose. I put my jacket on. I didn't go back through the house to get my car keys. I had them in my pocket. I jumped the short fence in the backyard and walked around to the street. I got in my car. The dashboard clock read 11:55 p.m. I started the engine. I drove away. I didn't look back at the house. I drove toward the highway, toward the city skyline that was about to erupt in light. At exactly midnight, I was alone on the interstate. Fireworks started exploding over the city to my left. Red, gold, green. They were beautiful. And for the first time in 3 years, I wasn't worrying about whether Vanessa was having fun. I wasn't worrying if I had bought the right gift or said the right thing. I was alone and I was free. I didn't know it then, but while I was driving into a silent, peaceful new year, Vanessa's night was about to implode in ways she never saw coming. Intermission. You are reading the story of how my girlfriend dumped me 13 minutes before midnight to be with the other guy, only to have karma hit her instantly. If you click away now, you will miss the brutal reality of what happened when the ball dropped, the humiliating text she sent me when she realized Trevor wasn't who she thought he was, and the final conversation where I got to close the door on her forever. The best revenge is living well, but watching a cheater fail is a close second. I drove around for an hour just listening to the radio. I didn't want to go back to our apartment. Well, my apartment, but it was full of her stuff. I couldn't face the toothbrush in the holder or the shoes by the door just yet. I ended up at a 24-hour diner near the airport. I ordered coffee and a stack of pancakes. It was the best meal I had eaten in months. My phone was buzzing. I had turned it on silent, but I could see it lighting up on the table. Happy New Year, texts from Mom, from my college buddies, from coworkers. And then around 12:30 a.m., the texts from our mutual friends started coming in. Sarah, dude, where are you? Sarah, Vanessa is crying in the bathroom. What happened? Jason, bro, did you leave? Jason, Trevor is a scumbag law. I frowned. Trevor is a scumbag. I mean, I knew that. But why was Jason texting me that at 12:45 a.m.? I didn't reply. I ate my pancakes. I drank my coffee. I tipped the waitress 100% because she was working on New Year's Eve and she looked tired. I got home around 2 a.m. The apartment was quiet. I walked in and the scent of her vanilla candles hit me. It made me nauseous. I went into the bedroom, grabbed a spare blanket and slept on the couch. I locked the front door. I put the chain on. If she came back tonight, she wasn't getting in. She didn't come back. I woke up at 9 a.m. The sun was shining. It was a new year. My phone was dead. I plugged it in and went to make coffee. When the screen lit up, it was flooded. 47 missed calls. 12 voicemails. 83 text messages. Most of them were from Vanessa. I sat down with my mug and started reading. The timeline of the messages told a story better than any movie. 12:15 a.m. Vanessa, where did you go? 12:20 a.m. Vanessa, this isn't funny, Mike, pick up. 12:45 a.m. Vanessa, I need you to come get me. 1:00 a.m. Vanessa, please pick up. I made a mistake. 1:30 a.m. Vanessa, he left. He literally just left with some girl named Courtney. If you have make it this far and want to see more videos like this, then kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so you may never miss another story like this. 2:00 a.m. Vanessa, I can't get an Uber. The surge pricing is $200. Please, Mike, I'm cold. 3:00 a.m. Vanessa, I'm sleeping at Sarah's. Call me when you get this. We need to talk. 8:30 a.m. Vanessa, Mike, please, I love you. I was drunk. I didn't mean what I said. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud in my empty kitchen. Here is what I pieced together from Sarah, who called me at 9:15 a.m. to give me the tea, and Jason. At 11:47 p.m. I walked away. Vanessa went back inside, straightened her dress, and went to find Trevor. She was ready for her cinematic moment. She was ready to start her exciting new life. She found Trevor by the keg. He was laughing with his lacrosse buddies. She walked up to him, put her hand on his arm, and whispered that she did it. She told him she dumped me. She told him she was all his. According to Sarah, Trevor looked at her like she had just handed him a dead bird. Whoa, Trevor apparently said. You dumped him tonight. Yes, Vanessa said, beaming. For us, for our future. Trevor laughed. Vanessa, babe, there is no us. We hung out a few times, you're cool, but I'm not looking for a girlfriend, especially not one who dumps her dude at a party. That's messy. But the Bali trip, the dreams. That's just talk, babe. I'm moving to Bali with my boys. We leave in February. And then the countdown started. 10, 9, 8. Vanessa stood there frozen, her world crumbling. 7, 6, 5. Trevor turned away from her. He spotted a girl named Courtney, a sophomore he had been eyeing all night. 4, 3, 2. Vanessa reached for him. One happy new year. Trevor grabbed Courtney and kissed her, deeply, passionately, right in front of Vanessa. The ball dropped, and so did Vanessa's heart. She spent the next hour trying to find me, realizing I had actually left. She tried to find a ride, but nobody wanted to leave the party yet, and nobody wanted to drive the girl who had just publicly dumped her nice boyfriend for a douchebag who rejected her. She ended up crying in the bathroom until Sarah took pity on her and let her crash on her couch. Now it was the morning after. I finished my coffee, I stood up. I walked to the bedroom and opened the closet. I pulled out her suitcases. I packed her clothes. I didn't fold them nicely like she used to do for me. I scooped them up in armfuls and stuffed them in. Shoes, makeup, the framed photos of us. I kept the frames, threw the photos in the trash. I packed everything she owned in under an hour. I put the suitcases in the hallway, outside the apartment door. Then I texted her back, one single message. My reply: I saw your texts. You were right about one thing, I'm not your future. Your stuff is in the hall. Sarah said you can stay there for a few days until you find a new place. Don't come here. I changed the locks this morning. I hadn't changed the locks yet, but I called the locksmith immediately after hitting send. He arrived at 11 a.m. Expensive on a holiday, but worth every penny. Vanessa showed up at 12:30 p.m. She looked wrecked. Makeup smeared, wearing yesterday's silver dress with a hoodie over it. She pounded on the door. Mike, open up, let me explain. I didn't open the door, I looked through the peephole. She was crying. Real tears this time. Not the manipulative I'm confused tears, but the I just ruined my life tears. Mike, he meant nothing, I was having a quarter-life crisis. I was scared of commitment. Please, baby, we can fix this. You're my rock, you're my home. I was your safety net, I said through the door, and you cut the strings. I have nowhere to go. My parents are in Florida. You have big dreams, Vanessa, I said, quoting her words from the night before. Go chase them, go be exciting, go be free. She slumped against the door and slid down to the floor, sobbing. I went into the living room, put on my noise-canceling headphones, and watched a football game. She was gone an hour later. Sarah came and picked her up along with her suitcases. Sarah texted me later, she's a mess. But honestly, you dodged a bullet. Trevor told everyone at the party she was obsessed with him. The fallout continued for weeks. Vanessa tried to spin the narrative, of course. She told people I was controlling, that I kicked her out on the street with nothing. But Jason and Sarah had been there. They witnessed the dump. They witnessed the Trevor rejection. The truth spread through our friend group like wildfire. She tried to monkey branch and fell out of the tree, Jason told everyone. 2 weeks later, I got a Venmo request from her. Request: $1,200 for rent and moving expenses. Note: you owe me this for kicking me out without notice. I declined the request. Note: I paid your rent for 3 years. Consider us even. She tried to call my mom to get her to talk sense into me. My mom, who had never really liked Vanessa but tolerated her for my sake, listened to her sob story for 5 minutes and then said, "Honey, you told him he wasn't your future. Why are you trying to be in his present?" and hung up. A month later, I was at the gym. I felt good. I had lost 10 pounds of stress weight. I was focusing on my work. I was actually building that future I told her about. I saw Trevor. He was on the bench press. He saw me and racked the weight. He stood up and walked over. I tensed, ready for a fight. "Hey, Mike writes." "Yeah." Trevor chuckled. "Look, man, sorry about New Year's. If I knew she was your girl, I wouldn't have even entertained it. She told me you guys were basically roommates and you were cool with an open thing." "She said that?" "Yeah, said you were too practical to care about monogamy." He shook his head. "She's crazy, man. She showed up at my place like 3 times after that night. Had to threaten her with a restraining order." "She's not my problem anymore," I said. "Good call," Trevor said. He offered a fist bump. "Happy New Year." "Happy New Year," I said, bumping his fist. I walked out of the gym into the cold February air. It has been a year since that night. I got the promotion. I bought a house, a real house, not a rental. I met a woman named Claire. She's kind, she's funny, and she doesn't think paying bills is boring, she thinks it's responsible. Last I heard of Vanessa, she dropped out of her master's program because she couldn't afford the tuition without my help. She's working as a bartender at the same dive bar where we had our first date. I saw her once from across the street. She looked tired, she looked older. I didn't stop, I didn't wave, I just kept walking. She was right about one thing that night. I wasn't her future, but she wasn't mine either. She was just a lesson I had to learn before my real life could begin. And as I unlocked the door to my new home, the one I built without her, I realized that the best comeback isn't a witty line. It isn't a scream. It's the sound of a deadbolt clicking shut on the past, and the silence that follows. Happy New Year! If you have made it this far and want to see more videos like this, then kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so you may never miss another story like this.